Developing conclusions can be depicted by a simple math equation. Assumptions plus evidence equal conclusions. Assumptions are the ideas we bring to our analysis. They are the glasses we view all data or observations through. They are critical to our analysis and determine how we interpret information and reach conclusions. Evidence consists of facts, data, or direct observations. They simply are, without interpretation. A case in point is what is often called the Lucy fossil. Classified by paleontologists as Australopithecus afarensis, these fragments were discovered in Ethiopia in 1974 near the village of Hadar by paleoanthropologist Donald Johanson of the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. Applying our conclusion equation, we should first determine what assumptions were made and what actual data was collected. There were some basic procedural assumptions in the Lucy discovery. First, Donald Johanson began his excavations in 1972 with the assumptions that he would find the hypothesized human ancestor required by Darwin's Origin of the Species in the Hadar Formation in Ethiopia. He had decided what he would find before he had even seen it. He first found a few pieces of knee bone he believed to be from a baboon or a monkey. His agreement with the Ethiopian government said that only significant finds could be removed from the country, so prior to any analysis, these bone fragments were defined officially as being from a missing link and therefore significant. Rather than having separation of efforts by those directing the excavation, performing the actual work, describing the finds, and interpreting their meaning, in Johanson's work, all of these functions were performed by the same group, led by him. Other bones found on subsequent trips and included in the Lucy collection were actually found a great distance away, over 1.5 miles away. Johanson's assumption was that all these bones belonged to the same creature in spite of their separation distance. The dating of these fossils was based on their location beneath volcanic ash that Johanson decided was 3.2 million years old. There was no direct data, but this fit with Johanson's hypothesis, so it was promoted as truth. It was also assumed that Lucy walked upright, as Johanson's missing link theory required. The bones discovered did not support that assumption, so the pelvis was broken and fit back together to represent a bipedal creature. In its original form, it was more consistent with the chimpanzee's pelvis. They were initially described by the team's anatomy expert, Owen Lovejoy, as being flared up like a chimp's prior to their modification. Johanson continued his disregard for location when he later assigned footprints found by Mary Leakey over 1,000 miles away to the same creature, because these footprints exhibited human characteristics. Specifically, they walked upright, which was a characteristic he wanted to assign to Lucy. There is no corroborating evidence that these human footprints were connected to Lucy, just Johanson's wish that they be. There are other questionable assumptions, but most important of all are Johanson's own words at a 2014 Freedom from Religion Foundation conference regarding religion and God.
We know, every single one of us in this room, who the Creator was. And that Creator was, of course, Mother Nature. I've always been an atheist. Now, I began to realize that believing in a Creator being, someone I couldn't see, someone who was keeping track of me, somebody who I'd be afraid of, was really not my cup of tea. If I were to believe in this mythical Creator, then I would have to, unfortunately, totally reject my objectivity and logic and leap into total fantasy. A retiring Englishman who went off on a 5-year boat cruise once figured out the grand unifying theory of biology. So get God's name off the money that we all worship and get in science we trust. We do need to get that name off of our money. There is no question. Make some real sacrifices. sacrifices to Mother Nature, who will, unlike the false gods to whom we have made sacrifices, Mother Nature will reward you. And the most important thing from here on forth is to stop acting as if there's someplace else for us to move to.
All of this leads us to question any conclusions Donald Johanson and his group may have made. They clearly disregard any conclusions that include God and His creation, or the Bible as having any historical relevance. His assumptions are not objective, they are clearly anti-God. Unfortunately, Mr. Johanson is not alone. Other anti-God scientists who have had a major impact on promoting the idea that the Bible cannot be trusted and that God does not exist include the leaders in evolutionary theory and uniformitarianism. Charles Lyell, the creator of the uniformitarian doctrine, said, "My goal is to free the science from Moses." He was a major influence to Charles Darwin, who said, "I, for one, must be content to remain an agnostic," which has resulted in current anti-God scientists like Donald Johanson and Richard Dawkins. Dawkins said, "Darwin made it possible to be an intellectually fulfilled atheist." Objective scientific thought requires that all options be considered, including God and the history He provided in the Bible. When honest science processes are observed, the reliability of the Bible becomes clear. It is fair to ask when reviewing any conclusion, what were the assumptions? If they include an anti-God point of view, we can be confident that the conclusions will be biased and flawed.